I think that when any voice in the media is silenced because they're a complete lunatic, what we have to consider is how they're treated. Whenever you reward somebody or punish somebody, that's setting a precedent, and you should have to justify that why you're doing it, right? So if you just punish somebody and you don't provide evidence, that's bad, because we need to be a logic-driven and evidence-driven society rather than an emotion and like trust-driven society, right? Because emotion and trust can be purchased. But evidence is based on reality, and logic is like our basic tool for communicating, and it can put everybody. Logic helps us understand things, helps us communicate things, and is just the best way for understanding reality. So, obviously, there's different examples for that, but I want to talk also about good and evil and use the example of Alex Jones. So Alex Jones, there's two ways he could have been dealt with. One was the way he was dealt with, and two was you have him in court, you say this is what you're guilty of, and then this is why you're ordered by the court not to do YouTube videos. So when someone is committing a crime, there has to be evidence, and generally the courts are the ones to choose a suitable punishment. In this case, social media chose a suitable punishment, and we know social media probably has their hands tied by the deep state. And Alex Jones is very much against the deep state. So that's a conflict of interests there, because usually the courts are responsible for punishing someone. Now, one of the things Alex Jones did was he incited violence against people involved in Pizzagate, which turned out to be just a big nothing. So he's actually responsible for inciting violence. And so what due process is you go to the court, you say you're guilty for this, and then the person asserting this proves it or has a lawyer prove it, and then maybe Alex Jones would receive a gag order from the courts. Well, he received a gag order from the deep state, which said to social media, you're going to gag him, and he got gagged and said to PayPal, you're going to freeze his assets, and he's not allowed to use PayPal. That's but all of this is without due process. It's just we're trusting the deep state to decide what is best for us, and I believe that is not logical, and it's not evidence-based. There's no transparency. There's no, this is what Alex Jones is being punished for. It's setting the precedent of we can blanket ban anyone, and like the same day Alex Jones was banned, who else got banned? A writer for antiwar.com and the host of Ron Paul Liberty Report. So banning these people sets precedent that you can just ban people without cause. Just trust whoever's banning them. Trust. We don't even know. There's no transparency. We don't know who is responsible for the bans. We don't know who incited them. And in terms of blame, we don't know whether there was coercion involved or people just thought, yeah, he's a really fucked up guy, he should be banned. Um, now, I believe when you encounter someone who's fucked up, someone who's really racist, let's say, or really sexist, the correct thing to do is get in a dialogue with them and say, here's why you're wrong, and this is why you're a bad person, and here's how you should fix yourself. Right? So if you meet a Nazi and the Nazi is espousing Nazi values, you can say, well, here's why, like, these values don't apply, and what you're saying is bullshit, and this is how you can correct yourself. And that's generally how society corrects itself. That's how, when someone has a bad idea, they learn that it's a bad idea, and so they can talk to people. And we're a very social animal, and we can interact with others and say, his criticism is legit, and so I will replace my bad ideas with better ideas. But when you just ban fundamentalists, then they gain the, well, I'm right because I was gagged, and the group of bad ideas, the people with bad ideas, are confined to interact with each other, and then the bad ideas grow and proliferate like a cult. And I've been in cults because my parents were both in cults, and it's just a very, like, you don't talk about the cult. Like, there's cults for pyramid schemes, there's cults for religion, there's cults for religions that don't call themselves a religion, but like anything to do with spirituality, or just the cult mentality is there's a very strong belief, and you're not supposed to question that. You try to achieve whatever it is the cult's out there to achieve, whether it's like going to heaven or spreading the cult or helping others. And some cults are good because they actually help others. But the mentality of trust and emotion rather than logic and evidence is very, can be very destructive and lead to very bad decisions because they're unfounded. And my mom's cult was based on truth, finding the truth. And so that was very ironic because I learned that my mom's cult was like just not based at all on science, in direct conflict with reality, that a benevolent God, like, doesn't do the stuff you see in reality, and all of this metaphysical stuff doesn't actually happen in when you observe the universe. So I guess a lot of people find that out in religions, which are kind of like, I would say religions are also cults because they're kind of like an organism that spreads, and there's a cult mentality in religion, and everybody tries to be narrow-minded so they can get along with each other and have the social experience. So you don't want people closing. You don't want communities with bad ideas closing in. You want it open and transparent so that they can receive criticism and evaluate their bad ideas and change them. But how the deep state wants to do it is just censoring people, and like intelligence agencies, you always see censorship, and whenever they don't want something to get out, they censor it, and whenever another politician disagrees with their methodology, they censor that politician and they slander that politician. And it's very, or sometimes it's not slander, sometimes it's justified criticism of the politician. But the person giving a criticism doesn't invalidate the evidence. doesn't invalidate the logic, because evidence and logic, when someone publishes a scientific study and posts the data and posts the analysis, it's transparent. Anyone can follow their logic. Whether you trust the scientist or not, you have the data, it's completely transparent, and you have the logic. And if you can follow the logic and follow the steps they did, and it's reproducible. You can do the exact same experiment, get the exact same data, and reach the exact same result. The scientist is just showing the logic, the logical progression they went through, and you can reproduce it yourself. So that is how the law should function when somebody does bad stuff. You don't trust someone else to say they're a terrorist. What you should do is have the evidence and have the logical conclusion of how they should be punished, and then everyone can see, oh, he did this, he incited violence, now he's being punished. Or, oh, he criticized the deep state, now he's getting punished. Or, oh, he is just really dumb and has a lot of stupid ideas, now he's getting punished. But some of those things are legal. And when you're really dumb, the correct response is an open debate. And social media, on YouTube, you can have comments, and people can say something dumb in the comments, and a lot of people feel it's their responsibility to correct them. And then you have political discourse, and you have democracy, and you have society evolving, and you have people learning about the world. And that is why things like ISIS are very unpopular, because whenever someone in ISIS interacts with the rest of the world says, ISIS is really fucked up, and here's why, and here's the evidence, and here's the logic. And the person realizes, oh, murdering people is bad. I shouldn't do that. But if you just have a society based on trust, where it's like, well, these guys are the bad guys, so we have to murder them, and there's no evidence, it's just, you should trust us. Those guys are really bad. The Iranians are bad. The Russians are bad. Therefore, we have to kill all of them. Or, this one politician is bad. Therefore, we have to kill everyone in his country. Trust us. That's illogical. It's not based on evidence. You need to present evidence and logic so that other people can reach the same conclusion. There should never be... You should never expect people to trust you. That's not how you punish criminals. It sets a bad precedent. People should be allowed to criticize the person in charge. And that way, if the person in charge makes a mistake, people can be like, oh, I tried to reproduce your conclusion, and, well, it seems there was a mistake. And then the person in charge can say, oh, I made a mistake. Let me correct that. But I feel like in America, when someone makes a mistake, the response is censorship. And we don't say, like, I think Alex Jones is one of the, like, lowest scum. But the way he got punished for his actions was not transparent. It broke his rights. He was treated as a criminal before evidence was presented. And we don't know who coerced social media to make a concerted attack against Alex Jones. There was no transparency. There was no judicial process. It was just, he was swatted away. And it sets a precedence now for, hey, if someone is called the bad guy, we can just appeal to emotion. We can just call them the bad guy. And we don't need legal precedent. We can just censor whoever. And that's how it's going to be from now on, unfortunately. And so all of this great invention we had with the internet and people being able to interact and have more political discourse and strengthening democracy and society evolving and being able to find information easily, we're going to lose that. And we're going to go backwards, back to the ages of trust, where you can't look at the evidence that other people have. You can't look at the logic they went through. You can't see who is the vigilante. You can't see that. It's just shadow bans and censorship, and what you don't know if they're right or wrong because you often don't know why someone got banned. Oh, they're a Russian spy. Why? Oh, you believe you were a Russian apologist? No, but like, what makes you think they're a Russian spy? Well, because the stuff they say weakens Americans' trust in the deep state. Therefore, they're a Russian spy. Like, there's a lot of just stupid stuff that people say, and I would like to be able to criticize that, because I think it makes society better. Thanks for watching.